A lot of people watch Forrest Gump and have this impression that Jenny is the villain of the story. But I'm not quite sure it's as clear cut as that. Jenny is a very, very complex character who's experienced a lot of traumatic events, a very abusive childhood, and whilst there are a lot of times during the film where she takes advantage of Forrest and mistreats him and kind of leads him down this path with no intention of being there when it really matters, I think a lot of it is a defense mechanism because of the way that her dad treated her. And I think she has this mentality that she doesn't want to let people get too close to her in case they hurt her. And, given what she went through as a child, it's a perfectly valid response, I guess. Valid's probably the wrong word to use. I'd say understandable more than valid. But yeah, you can understand why she doesn't want to let people in, doesn't want to let people get too close, because she's been hurt by the people that were supposed to love her. So I guess that's why she has this very complex relationship with what love is and what affection is and whether she even deserves that, because her dad made her feel so worthless that she feels like she doesn't deserve those things and she's not good enough for those things. I can understand why people feel that way about Jenny, about why they think that she's a villain, because she does constantly run out on Forrest, abandoning him, leaving him behind, and then only really returning when it's convenient for her, when she needs something. And obviously somebody like Forrest, whose understanding of the world is quite limited, it's going to lead him to feel even more confused and, not really knowing where he stands with Jenny, even though he's still fiercely loyal to her throughout the film. But obviously it's going to create some confusion in his head, because he's going to be thinking, well, why does she keep leaving me? Even though he never really shows that side of him throughout the film, it must have been there somewhere in the back of his head. But even throughout all that, he sticks by her, he's always there for her when she needs him to be, he's always waiting for her. And that thing he says near the end where he's like, I may not be a smart man, but I know what love is. And, he's very committed to Jenny, he's very devoted to her, even, takes care of her child when she can't any longer. But on the flip side is, did Jenny take advantage of that? Did she know that, Forrest was always going to be there for her no matter what? So she kind of manipulates him into giving her what she wants. And that again, I guess that's where the villainous argument for it comes from. But personally, I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough to class her as a villain. She does end up hurting people along the way, and she does end up chasing a lot of different things throughout her life, a lot of adventure. And I think purely it's escapism. She's trying to escape her past, escape all of the demons, and try and find herself in a way that she hasn't done before. Because for her, this is her only way out. This is her only way to forget about all of the things that happened in the past and live a free life. She does make poor choices and she does engage in self-destructive behaviour along the way, but that's purely a consequence of all of the stuff that she's had to live through growing up. A lot of people who suffer traumatic abuse as a child go on to lead turbulent lives as adults because they're still trying to work through everything that they went through as a kid. And Jenny's just another example of that. And it kind of goes back to the point I made at the start about her not feeling worthy of love. And I think that's why she continues to push Forrest away, because she's got this person who is really affectionate towards her and loves her no matter what, but she feels like as a person she doesn't deserve that. And that's why whenever Forrest gets close to her, she runs and she bails, because she feels like she isn't worthy and she can't handle that level of affection because she's not used to it as a person, and feels like Forrest could do a lot better than her. And given how worthless her dad made her feel, that's kind of understandable. So in conclusion, I don't think Jenny is a villain necessarily. I think she's a very deeply damaged, flawed character. She was a product of abuse and confusion, and kind of a product of her time in a way, because obviously during the 60s and the 70s, there wasn't that access for people who had gone through such traumatic experiences to go and seek therapy, to try and work through it. So a lot of the time they had to resort to other ways of doing it, and these other ways were often, acts of rebellion and joining all of these groups and things that weren't good for you, but it gave you a sense of belonging. And I guess that's why Jenny always defected to these things, because it gave her a purpose, I guess. I don't really know how much of that made sense. I think at the end of the day, she was just a broken person trying to heal, but she just didn't know how. So that's my take on Jenny from Forrest Gump. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know what you guys think. I know opinion on this subject is very, very divided, so I imagine there will be a lot of divisive takes on this one. But thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you did enjoy it, please consider leaving a like on there for me. If you're new around here and you like what you see, why not get subscribed so you can be notified of future videos like this one. Comment below any thoughts and suggestions. Like I said, let me know what you think of this subject. Thank you once again. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.